What's going on, everybody? American Football Network here with another video today. It's been a while, but we are back, and today we're bringing you our Texas A&M preview prediction video for the 2025 season. Today we are joined by our friend Michael. How you doing, man?
Good.
Good to have him on with us. We're glad that he's here. We'll have his channel link in the description. Can help us reach 11,000 subs by the end of August, and check out that description for links to our shop, podcast, and website. So let's go ahead and jump in. Week one, UTSA coming into College Station. Who you got in that one?
Once again, not really a lot to talk about in this game. Not usually a competition in these types of games, not usually that close of a game. Sometimes they're fairly close through the first quarter, but that's about it. But once again, not a lot to talk about. I got Texas A&M winning this game by a final score of 38-14.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think, UTSA, good, solid group of five program. Jeff Traylor done a good job there. But yeah, they just don't have what it's going to take to compete with Texas A&M now. If A&M comes out slow and sluggish to start the year, I think we could see UTSA competitive for a little bit. But I think towards the end, if that were to happen, I think after halftime, Texas A&M would settle in and really take control of that game. I like what Mikel is doing at Texas A&M after a solid first year. And I think that A&M will just have too much for UTSA. I agree. I think it'll be a similar score like that. I'm going 34-17 for that one. Now, week two, Utah State coming in to A&M. What are your thoughts on this game?
Kind of similar to the UTSA game in some aspects. Obviously, Utah State recently joined the new Pac-12.
Hmm.
Um, Once again, another lower tier opponent. Don't expect a ton out of this game either. I expect it to kind of be similar to that UTSA game. I got Texas A&M winning this game 35-10.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think this is going to be much of a tough struggle for the Aggies. Well, I guess the Texas A&M Aggies, I should say, as both of these teams are the Aggies. I believe. Um, but yeah, I think that A&M, they just have too much on both sides of the football. I think after that week one game, which is a solid, UTSA is a good group of five school to schedule. It's not just a cupcake team. That'll be a decent test for A&M to finally not be playing against each other. So I think by week two they'll really have it rolling. I have them winning this one 41-10, and I like these two games here. Two not just god awful teams that you start out with, a little bit of competition, but also not strong enough to really threaten you. But that way you can get everything rolling because week three they go on the road to Notre Dame. What are your thoughts on this one? Who do you have winning that game?
Obviously, Notre Dame has a gauntlet of a schedule to start the year. Uh, Playing Miami on Sunday, then having to follow it right up with Texas A&M. This one will be at home, unlike the Miami game. This will be in tougher environment for Texas A&M. Notre Dame, one of the more tougher places to go and play at. But Notre Dame will still be bringing in a new quarterback, with this being only Notre Dame's second game of the year to Texas A&M's third. That might play a role in how this game turns out a little bit. But with the new quarterback Notre Dame brings in, and with who Texas A&M lost, I still just don't see Notre Dame quite getting over the hump when it comes to these bigger games. Obviously made it to the national championship last year. Don't get me wrong, Marcus Freeman, an incredible coach, but I just don't see a young, inexperienced quarterback in his second game of his college career beating a team the caliber of Texas A&M. I got the Aggies winning by a final score of 27-20.
Yeah, I think this will be another game that ends like last year. Very close, hard fought all the way to the end. I think these teams play pretty well into each other's strengths and weaknesses. And when like you mentioned, Notre Dame bringing in a new quarterback, I believe CJ Carr is going to be the starter, the true freshman. I think he's a true freshman. I know he definitely didn't play at all last year. And he is a freshman. He might be redshirt. But him coming in, I think it's going to be a tough uphill battle for Notre Dame, but I do have Notre Dame winning this game. I just think with them, getting to play at home, that defense that they have, and having the best running back in the country, there's nothing more you would like. There's nothing that helps a new quarterback more than having a great run game and one of the best defenses in the country. And I think that'll be just enough to get the win at home. I have Notre Dame winning out in 23-20 over Texas A&M. Then they get a bye week, their first of two of the season, and then they get Auburn at home. What are your thoughts on that one? Who do you have winning that game?
Auburn can be a sneaky tough opponent this year. I think it's not necessarily on. They're not necessarily on the same level as a Notre Dame opponent, especially on the road. Considering this game will be at home for Texas A&M, but with Auburn's issues the past few years, it seems like they've always been close when it comes to being able to upset a big time team and have never really just quite been able to get there. Obviously, Alabama and the Hail Mary on what was it, 4th and 37 or something like that to beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl. I
Hmm.
believe Texas A&M lost last year at Auburn, and it was like 50 something, like 54-52 or something like that. But I have Texas A&M walking away with the win here. I just don't think Auburn has the firepower to keep up with Texas A&M in this game, considering Texas A&M's defense should be settling in by this point in the season. I have the Aggies winning 31-17.
I agree. I think this is going to be. I think it'll be a little bit closer than that. I think it'll be a fun game, but I have A&M winning. I think both of these teams, potential big years for both of them to finally break through those thresholds that have been holding them back. And I think A&M will win this game. I have them winning this one at 27-17. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. Pretty, your solid afternoon game before prime time. I think it'll be a good one. But I do have the Aggies coming out on top. I just can't trust Hugh Freeze and Auburn against a team that's just as good or better than them until they prove it, because they've underperformed time and time again, year after year. So until they finally break through, it's just hard to go any other way. I do have A&M winning this one. Next up, they get Mississippi State at home. What are your thoughts on this one? Who do you have winning?
Um, Not really any thoughts on this. Obviously, Mississippi State, the worst team in the SEC this year. Surprisingly, it's not Vanderbilt. Um,
Yeah.
Long time since it hasn't been Vanderbilt. The past 2 seasons, it's been Mississippi State. This past season, now this year, and I think if you look at it, this game should not be close. It's going to be a home game. Mississippi State might get 2 wins this year if they're lucky. They got destroyed by Toledo at home, for heaven's sakes, last year. There's no way they're going to beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M going to win this game 45-10.
Yeah, for sure. I agree completely. I have it finishing 38-7. I think A&M just blows Mississippi State away at home. They can't compete. They are, like you said, they're the worst team in the SEC, and it's not even all that close, really, of much of an argument. And I just don't think Mississippi State is a very good team. I don't think they have the offensive pieces or the coaching, the defense, none of it. They're terrible. I think the A&M should easily blow them out. So yeah, I have it 38-7 as the final for me. Next up, Florida at home. This will be a good one. Who do you have in this one?
I think this will be a primetime game. This wouldn't surprise me if this is the 7:30 slot on ABC that week, considering this will be a ranked matchup as long as Florida doesn't fall off the face of the earth for some reason. Um, but with this being at Texas A&M, I think it gives A&M the slight advantage out of the gate, especially with that crowd probably being the hardest place to play in all of college football, especially a night game if it does end up being a night game, that is. Lagway obviously nursing an injury here during the offseason, so we'll have to see how he does coming into the year and how that will affect him this season. But this is going to be a back and forth game. I just don't know if Texas A&M has enough firepower to keep up with that Florida offense. I'm going to hand Texas A&M their first loss of the season here. Florida, I'm going to give them the win here by a final score of 28-14.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a good one. I do have A&M getting the win over Florida. I think this will be another hard fought game. I have A&M winning 23-17 over Florida. I think it'll be a good defensive battle with some offensive flashes throughout. But yeah, like you said, Lagway nursing the injury. Florida's got a brutal schedule too. it's going to be hard for them to get through it. I think with this game, I think these two teams are actually very even. But with this game being at A&M, I give A&M the edge to get the win. And this one, so yeah, I have it 23-17 in favor of the Aggies, but I think it'll be a really good game, and it wouldn't shock me at all if Florida gets the win. Next up is Arkansas on the road for the Aggies. What are your thoughts and who you have winning that one?
I think this could be a trap game for Texas A&M, considering it's in between Florida and LSU. I should say Florida and at LSU, especially with it being at Arkansas. This could be a potential playoff run hope enders type of game for Texas A&M, depending on how the Florida and Notre Dame games go. But with Reed coming back at quarterback for the Aggies, there's still just too many questions for Arkansas, in my opinion, at this point in the offseason. Obviously, we have a long ways to this game mid-October. But I got Texas A&M winning this game, just eking out a win here over the Razorbacks by a final score of 24-20.
Yeah, I think this will be another, like you said, hard fought game, especially when you look at where it's put in the schedule. You get Florida at home the week before, you got to go on the road to LSU the week after. I think Arkansas upsets them and gets the win against A&M. I like Taylor Green and the Razorbacks offense. I think Sam Pittman is going to have this team. I think they're going to be looking better than they did last year. I think they were obviously played. Um, they obviously played well under where they should be. I think they have a bounce back this year. To some degree. I don't think they're going to be towards the top of the SEC, but I don't think they'll be as bad as they were last year. Obviously, Taylor Green also coming off of an injury like Lagway was in the Florida game. But I think that Arkansas is just going to find a way to win at home against A&M. I think it'll be a tough, close, hard-fought game. But I have Arkansas winning 34-31 over the Aggies in this one. Next up, they got to go on the road to LSU and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What is your take on this game?
Once again, probably another night game here for Texas A&M. I would presume, especially with it being at LSU alone. Usually, whoever LSU is playing, it's usually a night game, especially when it's at Death Valley there at Tiger Stadium in LSU. I think it's going to be a tough game for really either team, considering that both of these defenses have kind of improved, but at the same time, they've lost a lot with Texas A&M losing multiple defense linemen to the draft. I definitely think that'll affect them this year. But in the end, once again, Nussmeier, a Heisman candidate for LSU. This is just kind of like the Florida game in my situation. With Reed at quarterback, don't get me wrong, he's not a bad quarterback. He's not as good as throwing the ball as Nussmeier. That's just a fact. Um,
Yeah.
he's going to have to run for over 200 yards in this game for Texas A&M to win, and probably get at least 3 touchdowns on the ground as well. But once again, I think this is just one of those situations to where Texas A&M has a chance, but they would have to pounce on LSU early and often. And I just don't see how Texas A&M once again keeps up with Garrett Nussmeier in this LSU offense. I have LSU winning this game in a shootout by a final score of 42-38.
Yeah, I have this game a little bit different. I still have LSU winning. I think it would be a little bit lower scoring than that. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. I don't think A&M can compete with LSU. I just think Nussmeier and that offense are going to be too good. Now, there are a few questions for LSU's offensive line, as they lost both tackles to the draft, both of them great prospects as well. But obviously, you would think by the end of October, LSU's probably going to have those problems on the offensive line figured out, if there's problems to begin with, if they don't already have it figured out going into the season. So, and I look at this game, I don't think LSU should have a problem handling A&M. I think they'll win by about 10 points, something like that. I have this game finishing with LSU 38, A&M 28. It's a solid win for the Tigers. Not a, I just think A&M is going to have to do a lot more um, to win this game than what they've shown they can do in previous years. They never seem to be able to live up to it in these games. I just think, like I said, LSU just has too much for them to handle. Then they get another bye week, the last of the season, before they go on the road to Missouri, who they absolutely destroyed at home last year. Excuse me. What are your thoughts on this game?
Um, Obviously, Brady Cook was out that game due to injury. He was just beat up all season last year for Missouri. Unfortunately, didn't really get a fair chance. Otherwise, I think if Brady Cook stayed healthy, I think Missouri had a shot at the playoffs potentially or a higher tier bowl game if Brady Cook would have stayed healthy.
Hmm.
Um, when you look at this game, obviously Burden gone, Cook gone. There's just too much losses here for Mizzou to really be competitive this year, in my opinion. Will they be better than Mississippi State? Absolutely. Will they be a lot better? Probably not. They might win 4 or 5, maybe just get eligible with Missouri this year with how much they lost. But I got Texas A&M once again just destroying Missouri. Maybe not by as large of a margin considering it's on the road, but I have Texas A&M winning this game 35-10.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, Missouri, they lost a lot. Might have had a chance last year if Brady Cook was able to stay healthy, but yeah, he was just banged up all year long. A&M destroyed him last year. I think that continues this year. I agree with you. I think Missouri's towards the bottom of the SEC this year. I think A&M obviously is going to be towards the top. So I agree. I have A&M winning this game 34-7 over Missouri. I just don't see a way that Missouri can be competitive in this game and compete with the Aggies. Next up, they get South Carolina at home. South Carolina, a team kind of in the same position preseason wise as A&M. South Carolina is ranked. Another coaches poll came out today. I believe A&M was 20 and South Carolina was 13. So pretty similar spots for the teams. South Carolina, another team, right there on the edge, looking to make it into the playoff. So, what are your thoughts on this game? Is this could be a huge game for these two teams here at the end of the season, deciding potentially who gets in the playoff and who sits at home?
This stadium is going to be absolutely electric. Obviously, stadium's always electric when it's at Texas A&M, no matter who the opponent is. Um, this will be a tough game for both teams, both more so running quarterbacks, which is not really something you see nowadays. Usually you see one passing, more so strength, one running. This one here, we see more so both quarterbacks, Sellers and Reed, more so stronger in the running game as a quarterback than the passing game. I think Sellers is the better passer than Reed, but not by much. Um, I think when you really look at this game, South Carolina has an absolute gauntlet of a schedule too, as well as Florida, like we were talking earlier. Um, I think when you really look at this game, it's going to come down to who can stop the run
Hmm.
with Sellers and Reed. That who wins the offense and defense line, who wins the trenches. Good old fashioned football game. I think we'll have your ground and pound all game long. I think this will be a lower scoring game. I think we could see some explosive plays, but I don't think it's really high scoring. I have South Carolina beating Texas A&M by a final score of 20-14.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I think this is going to be one of those games where it's ground and pound because I think when you look at both of these two teams' offenses coming into the season, both of them, it starts in the run game, not just with the running backs, but also with their quarterbacks. So I think you're going to see a lot of that in this game. I think, yeah, it's going to come down to the defenses who's ultimately able to stop the run, or potentially the passing game, who's able to make that big play through the air. Um, I think it's going to be a tough, hard fought game for both of these teams, but I have A&M pulling out the win. I give them the edge with it being a home game. So I think A&M pulls out the win. I have them winning this one 24-20 over South Carolina. I just think that with them being at home, they're going to be a tough out. I think they get the win over the Gamecocks. Next up, Samford before the rival game. Don't think there's really any discussion needed for that one. I think we both agree they're going to blow Samford out. And a good week to rest and recover your starters because you finished the season on the road at Texas. What are your thoughts on that one? Who do you have winning?
I think when you really look at this, obviously senior day for Texas A&M taking on Samford. Not a lot to talk about here. These SEC teams always have a game like this towards the end of the season. I don't know why. It's just what they do. Um, they also have an 8 game in conference schedule compared to like the Big 10 or Big 12 with
Hmm.
9, which also plays into it. But not a ton to talk about here. I shouldn't say not a ton, nothing at all to talk about here. Uh, Texas A&M route could struggle a little bit looking ahead to Texas just to start the game. But other than that, Texas A&M is going to absolutely blow Samford away by a final score of 49-7.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Just gonna blow them out. Not even gonna be much of a game at all. Now the rival game at Texas. What are your thoughts on that game, and who do you have winning?
Potential game of the year candidate, I think. Obviously, all rivalry games are unpredictable. Um, Iron Bowl, the game, Army Navy, in this game, obviously this rivalry just getting renewed last season. Um, it was absolutely electric last season. I expect it to be electric again this year. Um, but I'm going to go with the stunner here. I think Texas A&M shocks the world and beats Texas by a final score of 31-28 on, I'm going to reach out on a limb here, a game-winning field goal.
Okay, I like it. But I'm disagreeing with you on this one. I'm going with Texas in this one. I mean, they came into A&M last year, didn't even allow a touchdown to the Aggies offense. I think that continues on the road for the Aggies. The offensive struggles. Texas defense elite. That offense has elite pieces. We'll see what Arch Manning becomes. I personally think he's going to be pretty good. I'm not sure if I believe that he's going to be as good as the hype is around him at the moment. But I do think he's going to be a very good quarterback in that system with Sarkeesian. And when you look at the pieces they have on offense, they yeah, they lost a lot and they just replenished every bit of it for the most part. So I think that Texas is going to roll in this one. Yet again, I have them winning. Texas beating the Aggies 31-20. I think it'll be a fun game for a little bit, but I think Texas will pull away towards the end. So I believe I had A&M going 8-4 with losses at Notre Dame, at Arkansas, at LSU, and at Texas. I believe you had them going 10-2, losing at LSU and the South Carolina. Um, so good season for A&M coming up. They got a solid team. They have a chance at the playoff. We'll see. Uh, I wouldn't really say too hard of a schedule either. Um, uh, at least most of these games are, I would say, manageable for the Aggies. But we'll see what Elko's able to do in his second year as the head coach of A&M. But that's going to wrap up today's video. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.